From the shining domicile that is Pittsburgh Comics, my old mannered comic shop owner, Colin McMahon, transforms into the world's greatest comic book talking TV host. Join us true believers for Comics Now!
Hey everybody, welcome to Comics Now for April 2023. So spring has sprung, the weather's changing, and so are the comics. Every May is when the big publishers, mostly the big two, kick off their big summer events. That's when we get the previews on Free Comic Book Day and stuff. So April is a lot of winding down, where they're finishing up their other series, the mini-series, their storylines, in anticipation of May. So that's what we got a lot of this month, and a lot of the new companies are taking this opportunity to jump in and start their stuff and have a lot of new books coming out. So very exciting month for comics, lots of new stuff coming. And we have Free Comic Book Day just around the corner on the first Saturday in May. So lots of stuff going on now in April. Normally I've been doing monthly promotions every month, spotlighting a different character or publisher or something, and I find by the end of the month it gets a little stale. So I'm going to switch it up, and I'm going to do it probably starting off bi-weekly, and spotlighting at least one creator a month, and then either a character or publisher. So we're going to start off April with Ed Brubaker, one of the most prolific and beloved creators out there, who had an amazing Captain America run that led to the creation of Winter Soldier, which was probably my favorite Marvel movie. So we're going to start Ed Brubaker. We'll have a little display. I'm going to do a post on the website about his career and give you some more information about him. So check that out. And then for Book Club, which is going to be on Friday, April 28th, we're going to be doing Maniac of New York from Aftershock. It's a story of basically Freddy comes to New York. Or not Freddy, Jason comes to New York, guy in a hockey mask terrorizing the subways. So the guys that have read it love it. They're actually on the third series now. So we decided to do that one for Book Club in April. So that's the business end of this. Now let's get on to what's coming. And because Dawn of the DC has begun, we'll start with DC Comics. The dawn of DC continues. We have a couple new number ones. Starting off, Green Arrow number one. This is by Josh Williamson and Sean Isaacs. The Emerald Archer is lost, and it will take Oliver Queen's whole family to find him. But dark, dangerous forces are determined to keep them apart at any cost. If you didn't read Dark Crisis, basically Green Arrow was kind of lost somewhere in the multiverse, and now they have to find him. So that's what this story is going to involve. We also have a new one, Superboy Man of Tomorrow. If you're a fan of 90s comics, you remember Kon-El, the clone of Superman and Lex Luthor that was created. Well, he's back, and Connor Kent takes the stage. After the events of Dark Crisis, Connor feels out of place with the rest of the hero community. He doesn't fit in with the rest of the Superman family, and the rest of the world really doesn't need him with so many supers in Metropolis. He doesn't want to rely on Tim, Cassie, and Bart, so Connor looks to the stars as a place he might be able to call his own and carve out his own path. But what lurks in the great unknown? Are bravado and swagger enough to help Superboy find his new calling? And we have a new one. This was a digital comic that they've had on their digital app, which is DC Silent Tales. Gustavo Duarte brings his style of humor to the DC universe in 6 short stories featuring funny moments in your favorite superheroes' lives. Where does Harley buy her mallets? What happens to Superman's radioactive clothes? What's a day off like for Cyborg? Be sure to check out this entirely silent comic. And then in the darker part of the DC universe, Sandman universe, Nightmare Country is continuing with its 2nd series. This is The Glass House. James Tinian's writing this one. The Corinthian has been turned loose on our realm once more, and this time he sets his sight on the very root of rapacious American capitalism, Silicon Valley. His relentless pursuit of the Smiling Man will carve a bloody path from the C-suite of Profit Capital to the bowels of a demonic nightclub, and no one will be safe from his reach. Not Ken, living large in the Bay Area since parting ways with Barbie all those years ago. Not Max, a nervous hedge fund manager on the rise who's never quite fit in anywhere. Not anyone. And then we're also getting a Batman Vengeance of Bane facsimile edition, which is reprinting the very expensive first appearance of Bane. Now on to Marvel Comics. Okay, Marvel Comics has a really big April in store. Starting off, they now have the license to Planet of the Apes. And so we're getting a new Planet of the Apes series from David Walker and Dave Wachter, who's a local guy. A new era of apes kicks off with part 1 of Devolution. The virus has rampaged across planet Earth and humanity is crumbling. While well-meaning researchers hunt for a cure, a fanatical group of humans has their own solution: kill all apes. Peacekeeper Juliana Tobin is one of the few willing to stand against them. But the crisis is spreading, and soon apes will witness the true depths of human cruelty. We also have a new Guardians of the Galaxy book coming, because I think there's a movie coming out this summer. 1 year ago, the Guardians of the Galaxy were destroyed. Their optimistic future shattered by the betrayal of one of their own. Now they ride the space lanes of a lawless corner of the galaxy, trying to outrun their tragedy. Can they rediscover their heroism and humanity in the bleakest frontier? Can they forgive the failures of their past? Or will they fade into the dark, eternally unforgiven? We're also getting a Marvel Tales reprint of the 4-issue Rocket Raccoon miniseries from the 80s, which was done by Mike Mignola. So that's fun. And we're also getting a facsimile edition of Strange Tales 178, which is an Adam Warlock story, because apparently he's going to be in the movie too. We also get Warlock Rebirth. This is by Ron Mars and Ron Lim, tying back into their 90s run of Silver Surfer. So Adam Warlock was created to be the perfect human specimen. Since then, Adam has gone on to be a cosmic savior, defending the galaxy from the likes of Thanos, the Universal Church of Truth, and the Magus. But what will happen when the next evolution of Warlock emerges? Someone who is stronger, faster, and smarter than Adam? We also have a one-shot Guardians of the Galaxy, Bane of Blastar. This looks like an old story by Ralph Macchio. Blastar is back and has launched a new Inquisition to take on over the galaxy. The Guardians must act fast if they hope to stop him. But it looks like this found family is having problems of their own. Can the Guardians get it together before it's too late? We also have a new Alien series. They decided to, instead of continuing, to start it over with a new #1 to start a new storyline. This one's written by Declan Shalvey, the famed cover artist for Marvel. Wrote his own book at Image time after time, and now he's doing Alien. Scientist Batya Zahn will do just about anything to get her family off the icy moon where they've been conducting research on water conservation. But there's more than glacial springs to find in this forgotten corner of the galaxy. When they discover an extraordinary organism buried in the ice, it won't take long for tensions to heat up. What is hidden in the snow comes forth in the thaw, and no one will be welcoming the spring. And then we have Sins of Sinister is winding down, the big X-Men event, with Dominion. 1,000 years of hell and damnation comes to end with the loudest scream in history. And for the truly guilty, there is no escape. Can the future change the present, or will we just make all the same mistakes again? Either way, the present will have to live with the future's sins. We also have Avengers Assemble Omega. This is wrapping up Jason Aaron's run. The final chapter, the grand oversized finale of the most epic battle in the history of Earth's mightiest heroes. Along with being the final issue of Jason Aaron's 5-year Avengers run, this features an all-star cavalcade of artists, a veritable smorgasbord of Avengers, and the last few emotional gut punches in the mighty Marvel manner. We have a Marvel Voices Spider-Verse, an all-new selection of interdimensional adventures from some of Marvel's freshest and finest creators, each bringing their own unique perspectives and stylings to the web of life and destiny. What new spiders will find their way to the Marvel multiverse, and what familiar faces will join them for this titanic and oversized issue? We're getting 2 facsimile editions. We're getting 2 X-Men #1s, the one from 1963 and the one from 1990. So if you like X-Men #1, we got 2. We're also doing a Marvel Tales of Miracle Man, and this is reprinting all the very early stuff and then the first run of Alan Moore's run of it. Middle-aged reporter Michael Moran always knew he was meant for something more. When an unexpected series of events leads him to reclaim his destiny, the heroic Miracle Man is reborn. But Miracle Man's return threatens to unravel Moran's life. Pushing the concept of the superhero to its logical conclusion, Miracle Man is nothing short of a revelation, and 40 years later stands as one of the influential works in the comic book art form. So we have Captain America Cold War Alpha. This is kicking off a big Captain America storyline going between both books. The revolution starts here. Bucky Barnes is the Outer Circle's new revolution, and he has enacted his deadliest move yet, an alliance with Sam Wilson's nemesis, the White Wolf. When Steve Rogers' adopted son, Ian, aka Nomad, is abducted by someone Steve thought was a friend, he suspects Bucky's hand at work and calls upon the people who know Ian best, Sam Wilson, Sharon Carter, and Misty Knight, to help him get to the bottom of the attack. Has Bucky finally gone too far? Why has Nomad been taken? And what does it have to do with a portal to Dimension Z opening over a secret battleground in Alaska? The Symbol of Truth and the Sentinel of Liberty reunite for a pulse-pounding crossover event that will make them question everything they believe in, and each other. We also have the end of the Unforgiven storyline, which is Captain America Unforgiven. Captain America Vampire Hunter? The Forgiven have lost their way. Defeat after defeat has made them bitter and bloodthirsty, and they're starting to like it. Can Captain America bring them back into the light, or will they give in to their darker natures? Witness the thrilling conclusion to the Unforgiven saga, if you dare. We also have a new Darth Vader book, Star Wars Darth Vader Black, White, and Red. Following the successful Black, White, and Red series produced by Marvel Comics, Darth Vader now takes the spotlight for Tales of Terror by some of the industry's most talented creators. And they're continuing the Return of the Jedi series with Star Wars Return of the Jedi Ewoks. On the moon of Endor, occupied by the species called Ewoks, a group of these stout creatures has gathered around the fire to recount tales of triumph, defeat, and horror. In the art-forward manner, meaning there's not going to be any words, it's just going to be art, of storytelling, which an eclectic group of artists interpret the stories from the unique minds of the Ewoks in a manner only they can envision. Okay, now on to the rest of the publishers. First up from Image Comics, we have a new one from Kyle Higgins and Daniel Bayruth called Deep Cuts. New Orleans, 1917. In the city's bustling red light district, a young clarinet player lands a job with his hero, but he'll soon discover there's more to the music business than playing the right notes. We have Terror War #1. This is by Saladin Ahmed and Dave Acosta. They make their Image debut with this sci-fi horror series about working people fighting mind-bending monsters. Blue City was the last livable place on Earth. Now it's crawling with terrors, creatures that transform into their victims' worst fears. Humanity's last hope, Muhammad Show and the overworked, underpaid crew of freelance terror fighters. We also have World Tree. This is going to be a big one, a new one from James Tynion and Fernando Blanco. In 1999, Gabriel and his friends discovered the Undernet, a secret architecture to the internet. They chartered their exploration on a message board called World Tree. Then they lost control. Someone broke into World Tree, someone who welcomed the violent hold the Undernet had on them. At great personal cost, Gabriel and the others thought they had sealed the Undernet for good. They were wrong, and now they will know the meaning of fear. We have the Ginormous Kokju, which is from Jerry Duggan and Scott Koblish. The Despicable Deadpool team reunites to give the world the giant monster attack story the movies and TV are too squeamish to show you. This is the tale of woe about a monster with physical needs. It needs a restroom. It needs food too. And most unfortunately, it needs love. The only thing standing in its way are the men and women of science. We have Junk Rabbit #1 is a new one from Jimmy Robinson. New hero rises from the mountains of consumer waste, mass homelessness, and devastating climate change. Some call the hero a myth, an urban legend, but others know that it's the Junk Rabbit come to life. Hey Kids Comics Volume 3 is out. The Schlock of the New from Howard Chaykin. A generation of artists ashamed of their careers have come to this, scratching out a living, entertaining children who wonder why anyone would want to do with anything else. With the birth of the comics industry comes the afterbirth, a shadow that will sustain and occasionally sabotage it for generations to come. Fandom. We have a new one, Summoner's War Awakening. This is by Justin Jordan, who lives out in central PA. Civil war rages across the land of Aaliyah. These armies summon magical creatures to battle each other in a seemingly never-ending struggle, and newly trained summoner Rai has been thrust onto the front lines. Now Rai and her companions are stranded deep within hostile territory, occupied by soldiers on the ground and sky pirates in the clouds above. But a cunning new bounty hunter stalks her every move, and Rye's skills will have to be stronger than ever to make it home alive. We also have Mirka Andolfo's Sweet Paprika is doing a special black, white, and pink, kind of mimicking Marvel. The sexiest comedy of 2022 turns pink. Infernum Press's Sexy CCO returns with some all-new stories for a special in black, white, and pink, a selection of fun and spicy adventures set within the Sweet Paprika universe. On to Boom Studios, they have one that's getting a lot of anticipation. The Expanse Dragon Tooth #1. This is done by Andy Diggle. Picking up after the final season of the acclaimed and beloved sci-fi series and filling in the missing years between Babylon's Ashes and Persepolis Rising, the secret history of your favorite characters are revealed for the first time. Everyone comes together in this epic 12-issue story, tying together the threads of the show and answering lingering questions. We also have The Seasons Have Teeth. It's written by Dan Waters. In a drab, colorless world, the seasons bring change and also destruction. Andrew, a retired conflict photographer, lives a life steeped in regret after an unthinkable tragedy. But everything shifts when the seasons arrive, each one a personified godlike creature. As he risks everything to track down spring, summer, autumn, and winter, will capturing the perfect picture of each be enough to find redemption and ultimately bring color back to his world? Dark Horse has a couple interesting new ones. First one is Hairball, #1. This is by Matt Kindt and Tyler Jenkins. A young girl with a black cat begins to suspect the innocuous beast is behind all of her troubles, her parents' fighting, family plagues, and numerous supernatural horrors. As she tries her best to rid herself of this creature, she discovers that maybe the cat is not evil after all, and a greater terror may be behind these horrific events harming her life. And we also have The Great British Bump Off. An Agatha Christie-style murder mystery set in the world of English competitive baking from Giant Day's John Allison and Max Sarin. When she enters the country's most beloved baking competition, Shauna Wickles' goal is to delight the judges, charm the nation, and make a few friends along the way. But when a fellow contestant is poisoned, it falls to her to apprehend the culprit while avoiding premature elimination from the UK bakery tent and being the poisoner's next victim. And All Eight Eyes, #1. In the forgotten corners of post-9/11 New York City, skittering shapes in the darkness prey on the people society leaves behind. College dropout Vince Spencer floats through life in a drug and party-fueled haze until one terrible night sweeps into drifters' reckless war against the giant eight-legged horror stalking the city. It's Jaws meets arachnophobia. Dynamite has gotten the Disney license, and we've already gotten Darkwing Duck and Gargoyles. And up next in this line is Disney Villains series, and the first one is Scar. Startling new vision starring Disney's greatest villain set within the world of The Lion King. An enraged Scar is unable to accept that he will never be king, not so long as Mustafa and his new son inhabit Pride Rock. A plan is starting to formulate within Scar's corrupt mind, which will bring him face to face with the mysterious shaman Rafiki. We also have a new 007 book, For King and Country, by Philip Kennedy Johnson, who just had a long Superman run. An all-new nail-biting Bond mission. Accused of murder on British soil, James Bond has been branded a traitor by his own government. As M sounds the entire 00 division after 007, Bond must go underground with only one ally. Gwendolyn Gann, 003. Another traitor, presumed dead, secretly on a clandestine mission with global implications. Ablaze has a new one. This is The Mighty Barbarians, #1. They're barbarians. They loot, they plunder, they conquer. That's what they do, and they do it alone, until now. When an unstoppable force starts consuming one world after another, sorceress Morgan Le Fay uses her magic to assemble a team of skull-cracking warriors who must somehow work together to save all of existence. Ahoy is giving us the third Second Coming series from Mark Russell and Richard Pace. This one's Trinity. Back again, the book that turned the comic industry upside down. Jesus, the Son of God, tackles his biggest challenge in 2,000 years, babysitting a child with superpowers. Meanwhile, his roommate, the superhero called Sunstar, faces his greatest enemy and his own guilt in a court of law. Archie is continuing their Chilling series. We have The Chilling Adventures presents The Cult of That Wilkin Boy. This is written by Cullen Bunn, who's everywhere. Bingo Wilkin is not just a world-renowned musician. He's an icon, an iconoclast, a legend, a leader. He's also a master of manipulation with fans and followers willing to do his bidding, no matter how evil it may be. Is too much ever enough when it comes to celebrity? Blood Moon is a new publisher out there, and they have some interesting books coming. We have the Grit and Gears. The wonders of steampunk technology have reached the Old West. It's 1879, and the world is about to meet Ranger One, the first self-aware automaton programmed to eradicate crime in the town of Steam's Eddy. We also have another one, Violent Descends, #1. 7 archangels guide the fate of humanity. The angels of life, death, miracles, nature, technology, freedom, and emotions. When the angel Violet abandons her sacred duties of shepherding humanity's emotions, the world is suddenly thrown into a hellish apocalypse event. Violet is punished for her actions and bonded to a human named Ruth, who helps her uncover a demonic plot to bring upon the end of the world. One by one, the 7 archangels fall prey to the attacks of the Deadly Seven, a group of powerful archdemons that personify each of the 7 deadly sins. IDW, they have a new Rocketeer special. It's a wall-to-wall adventure in a trio of Rocketeer stories. First, the writers of the movie bring us a tale featuring Amelia Earhart. Second is a story of Rocketeer fighting a Japanese Zero in the South Pacific. And last is Cliff on a Date with Betty. We also have, there's a special for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Last Ronin Lost Years. Literati Press is a new one, and they have one called Silence. In this extraordinary rock and roll mythology mashup, Joanna Jones returns to her hometown of Anthem, a down-on-its-luck shipping town, to discover the ship her father sailed on has gone missing. She ends up aboard a yellow submarine named the Heart of Gold, headed directly into Hades' Hexagon to find the missing crew, accompanied by her childhood best friend, a rich young addict, and a punk legend. Mad Cave has a new one. Exorcists Never Die. This is written by Steve Orlando. Sid Miller and Ellen Blair are the world's 2 premier combat exorcists. The only problem, after a nuclear breakup years ago, they can't stand each other. But when the biggest soul auction in history kicks off beneath Los Angeles, Sid and Ellen have no choice but to come together to raid the Hellscraper, an infernal tower going straight down into the earth. With thousands of souls on the line, Sid and Ellen must fight their way to the bottom or die trying. Opus brings us another Frank Frazetta book, Tales of Science Fantasy. This is a new series. It's a quarterly anthology based on a Frazetta painting, and they're writing a story off of a painting that he had done, so that's kind of neat. Scout Comics, they're giving us Codename Ric Flair Magic 8-Ball #1. This comic details his fact or fiction forays as an international super spy in the 80s and 90s, because that was apparently a theory that he was a super spy, and by traveling as a wrestler, he was able to travel the world incognito and do spy stuff. They also have one called Count Dante. Sidney Brown relives his years fighting alongside Count Dante, an iconic, controversial karate master from the 1970s. But while the reporter interviewing him is excited to hear the salacious details of a crazy life, it is clear that the time is bittersweet for Brown. SourcePoint Press brings us Franklin and Ghost. In a last-ditch effort to see more of the universe before accepting their inevitable, boring lives as miners on their home planet of Dephilion, Franklin and Ghost steal a ship and head out for one last adventure. When they accidentally crash to Earth, they seek shelter in the bodies of a couple of unsuspecting hosts. Hell-bent on having a good time, they start a rage-filled quest, putting them on the radar of the galactic police forces. Sumerian Comics give us a new one, Soko, which is based out of Serbia. A routine traffic stop for 2 Serbian beat cops quickly descends into corruption and betrayal as a dark trail of evidence leads to the discovery of unimaginable depravity. New company, Uncharted Wilderness Studio, has one called The World of Tomorrow. In 1950s Hollywood, Craig Barstow, the burned-out lead actor of a failing sci-fi TV show, The World of Tomorrow, ends up believing he actually is the show's valiant main character, Captain Cal Armstrong, after a failed mob hit leaves him delusional. Now, with the mob on his trail and the tyrannical studio boss at his throat, he must find a way to save his show and his sanity, all before the final 5 p.m. broadcast. Vault, we get the return of Money Shot, which is a bunch of scientists in outer space filming themselves doing things to raise money to keep their mission going. When the giant space jellyfish who run the ordered universe arrive on Earth, the explorers must put away grudges, crushes, and side hustles to once again take one for the team. An epically sexy new arc begins, which takes aim at dumb billionaires and bad optics. Whatnot has a new one called Griffin. In the distant future, mankind has taken to the stars and spread across the galaxy. They've encountered hundreds of worlds, met dozens of species, and crushed them all in the iron fist of humanity. Humans now reign over the Milky Way as a fascist empire known as the Sovereign Reach, and their most feared soldier is the merciless Captain Lila Griffin. 6 months ago, they disappeared. 1 week ago, they returned, changed, radicalized to bring down the empire they once served. Now Captain Griffin has a new mission, to recruit a crew of rogue officers and mad scientists and set fire to the galaxy, no matter how many get burnt along the way. And lastly, we have Heavy Metal Ram God. Ram God follows Clive Boulder, a former troubled star athlete turned NCPD beat cop, as he tries to balance his dueling responsibilities as a cop and a father. But his teenage son Malcolm wants nothing to do with him. That's until Clint is recruited by Malcolm's favorite team in the world's most dangerous sport, Ram God, after a video of him chasing a perpetrator goes viral. With a second shot at his dreams and a chance to find common ground with his son, Clint's future is looking bright, but looks can be deceiving. So that's what's coming out. That's all the new stuff coming out. As usual, we're still getting issue 10s and 12s and 2s from all the other books. So lots of great stuff coming out in April. We're going to be doing lots of stuff here in the store too, ramping up for Free Comic Book Day that's on Saturday, May 6th. So keep an eye. The website's PittsburghComics.com. Facebook is Pittsburgh Comics. Twitter and Instagram are PGH Comics. I'm going to try to be posting new stuff there every day. So if you have any questions, please reach out to me. And thanks for watching, and stay tuned for Comic Previews Theater. See ya.
Dude, you gotta slow down.
That's exactly what I'm telling you. I can't. An evil mathematician transported me and Mary Jane to another universe. I was going to use that device to send MJ here for help, but a god showed up to sacrifice me as part of some world-ending ritual. Before I could stop her, Mary Jane sent me home instead.
To save that world or this world?
I think both.
So what do you need from us?
You can let me out of these restraints for starters.
Oh, right. Sorry. Release intruder and add him to the safe list. Computer, he's friendly.
At once, Mr. Grimm! Where's Reed? I need to get that thing working again.
Reed and Sue are on Tarnax. Skrulls are having trouble with their atmosphere or something.
Then I need his lab.
Oh, actually, we're not supposed to let you go in there. Not until Cap gets here.
What did you say?
Ben, what? We're all friends here.
What does Cap want with me?
Come on, Peter. There were 2 massive explosions in Pennsylvania. Extra-dimensional origins. Feds found a Spider-Man costume. No one is saying you did anything. But we have to clear some things up before we let you loose in Reed's lab.
What kind of things?
Run some tests, make sure you're who you say you are. Our Spider-Man shouldn't take long.
And what if I don't want to wait?
We're supposed to make you.
I appreciate your honesty.